Hello everybody and welcome back to another episode of Microsoft Flight Simulator news and updates. And today we got quite a bit to talk about. We have some aircraft changes, new hardware coming down the line, and some new software to further enhance the simulator. If you are interested in acquiring any of my Overkills tutorial guides for Microsoft Flight Simulator, please consider joining me on Patreon. Patreon subscribers level tier 2 and above have access to all of my guides, as well as any future updates and future guides that will be coming down the road. Link to Patreon can be found in the description below. First, as always, guys, I want to make sure that you guys are aware of fselite.net. This is a fantastic site for keeping up with the latest flight simulator news, whether you be P3D, X-Plane 11, Microsoft Flight Simulator, and even DCS World. Make sure you guys check out fselite.net for the latest in simulator news. Today, we're going to start out with PMD pushes back the release of the 737-600. Now, as unfortunate as that is, there's actually some good news that comes along with that. One of the biggest reasons why we are holding off on the release of the PMDG 737, according to Robert, is the lateral flight path model, which basically is completely brand new reprogramming of the LNAV, which was previously known as for PMDG. So the lateral navigation system has been written from the ground up. This is going to provide more accurate lateral flight navigation in the flight directors, as well as the overall calculation and performances of the aircraft when using the LNAV function inside the simulator. There are also updates coming to the 737-700. Much of the in-cockpit animation has been adjusted, even a fix of the trim wheel. I did have to giggle at part of this, as it sounds like somebody who writes the paychecks, who shall not be named, was the one responsible for removing the initially resolved trim wheel animation prior to release of the Dash 700, and it took them a second to realize what was going on before it was added back. So with the latest update, or the next update I should say, of the 700, we should see a lot of the animation resolved inside the cockpit, which is fantastic. The trim wheel is one of those things that's actually quite obnoxious to look at when it starts moving, because it doesn't match what it should be doing. A lot of really awesome information coming down from the PMDG company. They are hoping to get the Dash 600 out over the next couple of weeks. Now, with the release of the Dash 600, we will see the lateral flight path model included, and on that same day, we will see the update to the Dash 700, which will also include the lateral flight model, as well as, like I said, the aforementioned in-cockpit animation fixes. Now, one of the other things that to be aware of is the release on the store. If you are looking to buy the PMDG products from the Microsoft Marketplace, it will be a few weeks after the release, but it sounds like with each release, that time frame from the time it is released on the PMDG store to the time it is released in the Microsoft Marketplace will be reduced. So it sounds like things are being worked out. I would guess on the Microsoft side of things, that's just speculation here. That's not fact, but I guess the partnership there is probably still ironing out some details on how to get those updates in the aircraft onto the Marketplace a bit faster for those who choose to do the one-stop shop. I personally prefer to actually get as much of my third-party aircraft from outside of the Marketplace, and my reasoning for that is that, again, the time it takes to get an update into the Marketplace. Many of the third-party developers, you will get an update if you go directly from their store much faster than where it shows up on the Marketplace. So especially that's extremely handy when we're talking about bug fixes and things like that. So again, pretty awesome news coming out of PMDG. I never have a problem with the fact that they are delaying the aircraft. I would much rather them be as forthcoming as they have been. I think Robert does a great job with keeping the community up to date on what's going on with the aircraft. He doesn't just say it's going to be delayed. He tells us why, lets us know that, hey, we're just trying to iron things out, and that's exactly what they're doing with the 600. It's that lateral flight path model that they want to make sure gets really ironed out, and you can see that here. It means a few extra weeks need to wrap it up. So they are absolutely working very, very hard on the aircraft. That's great to see. The communication is right on point and exactly what it needs to be, I think, for the community to be understanding about the delays. It lets us know that we are going to get a nice, clean, polished product upon release. The 737-700 upon release, of course, had some of its issues, but all in all was still a fantastic fantastic flight experience from day one, and I think that just speaks highly to PMDG's reputation, and that they're not looking to just take your money. They want to make sure that they're giving you a quality product. So hats off to them for that. The very famous now Honeycomb Aeronautical Alpha flight controls are receiving an update, and that is with the XPC. The XPC is going to make the flight yoke compatible with the Microsoft Xbox, as well as we're also going to see the release of the Xbox Hub, which will allow all the devices to be put together. Now, before I get into the price of this bad boy, I want to talk about some of the updates. They have very discreetly added in the Xbox buttons. Obviously, that's going to be critical for Xbox users in order to use it, so I totally understand why they did that, but they do claim, and as you can see in the image here, it's actually, well, it didn't really help much, but it is very difficult to locate the Xbox button, so I think they did a great job with that discretion in where they place the buttons and how they place them. The other thing that it really does get that really screams out loud is the new 12-bit Hall effect sensors with an impressive 400% increase in the aileron elevator sensor resolution. What does that mean? That means that you're going to have much more finite control, and the controls in the simulator compared to the input you put on the hardware is going to seem much more seamless. It's going to be very, very smooth. It's going to be very, very reactive, but not reactive to an uncontrollable state. It's just if you put minor movements on the controls, you're going to get minor movements from the aircraft. It's going to seem much more realistic. You're going to have much less drag on your physical hands and the controls. It's going to feel less like a simulator control and more like a real live yoke. So that is a fantastic thing. Hall sensors are absolutely awesome, and they're going to be the way of the future for flight simulation controls. And most of the really big time flight controls, the real expensive stuff that you're going to see is probably going to be Hall censored. Hall sensors really do make a huge difference in the responsiveness and the overall calibration of your flight controls. It makes it much nicer. Now, here's the shocking part. I was actually kind of brokenhearted to see this. I'm not going to lie. $350 US, $349.99 coming out of the US and EU warehouses on the 15th of September. Pre-orders have or will be started. I think it said July 15th. And let me go back. I want to make sure that I confirm that for you guys. Oh, pre-orders available now. Sorry, maybe that was June 15th then. I was really kind of, I don't know how to say it. I was really kind of bummed out to see the price of these. And now, mind you, I already own the original Alpha and the Bravo throttle quadrant. And I guess the reason why I was disappointed to see this price is, the previous items I think were $150 each, $250 each. Yeah, so actually a little less than $250 each is what you can pick them up for on Amazon, and when you can find them in stock, and there's many other locations that you can pick these up from. So we're going from $250 a piece to $350 a piece, a whole extra $100. Now, that may speak to the quality, that may speak to the Hall sensors. I'm sure all that comes into consideration here. And it's not that I'm necessarily trying to knock them or trying to discredit the quality of their products. They absolutely are amazing. They truly are. I love my Alpha and Honeycomb. I guess it was just nice when they first released because they were a very big competitor in high quality products at a much more reasonable price for consumers. Now, with inflation being the way it is, it's probably, again, that's going to take into some consideration too as well. It's just, again, with the strains that I know many people are feeling out in the community with money. This is what was July 15th, but with the strains, shiny, with the strains that people are feeling, it's sad to see another product shooting up through the roof. I mean, after taxes and after, I don't know if shipping, I hope shipping is going to be free, but at the very least, after taxes, you're going to be looking more like $370, $380. So pushing up on $400 for each one of these products by the time you get it. So it's just, it's just sad to see things once again being pushed out of people's reach. And I don't think that's a shot at Honeycomb. I really don't mean it to be as such. Like I said, I'm sure there's a ton of things that come into effect. The Hall sensors absolutely have something to play there. The inflation has something to play there. I'm sure parts and products are for manufacturing are through the roof right now. So it's heartbreaking, not necessarily against aeronautical. It's just heartbreaking to see that. But I know that Honeycomb puts out a wonderful product. So even at that price point, I'm sure that it'll be worth every dollar that you put out. It's just, again, sad to see it going that high again. Now, with that being said, the much awaited Charlie rudder pedals are also going to be released here very shortly. They're going to be coming out at the 15th of October, and they are available for pre-sale on the 15th of July. So you guys can pick up the entire set here within the next couple of weeks. The only thing that you would want to buy independently is the Bravo throttle quadrant, and you'd have the full shebang. The Xbox Hub is running at $39.99 US. And again, the idea behind the XPC series is to make everything completely compatible and functional for the Microsoft Xbox. So you Xbox users will finally have access to some very nice hardware. So at least at the end of the day, even with the price points, that still is a wonderful piece of good news, because I cannot speak highly enough about the original Honeycomb Alpha. I love my Alpha. It is a wonderful flight yoke. So I will not be upgrading because of the price point. There just isn't a reason to. I love mine as it is. But this is definitely, you Xbox users who have been looking for some really high quality flight controls, this is what you've been looking for, I promise. It is wonderful, absolutely wonderful piece of hardware. So anyways, so some good news there, some bad news there, some amazing news there, a little bit of everything. And I do hope that Honeycomb continues to do what they do. Skypark is releasing the SkyOS version 3, which is now going to add the passenger element of flight to their utility, which will definitely help increase the immersion. Now, they've really gone above and beyond with this one, as it's not just a matter of loading passengers. Each passenger is going to be independent in their own way, meaning unique character traits, whether it be weight, attitude, age, whether how they're feeling, if they're hungry, if they're thirsty. All these things are going to be taken care of. Now, the article does go on to say that most of these will still be managed from obviously your cabin crew, but you will have the experience, and it sounds like audio experience, of having a cabin full of passengers in the back end. Now, they don't say what, but they do hint that there may be some certain things that will pop up that you as the pilot in command will have to address using the Skypark OS 3. I have not used Skypark in quite a long time. However, I do have it, and I think with this information, what I'm seeing here, it is definitely going to be time to bring it back to the channel and do some comparisons with it against NeoFly. NeoFly is typically my go-to when it comes to this kind of immersion, having a mission-based operation, something to truly enhance it. However, I will not in any way discredit Parallel 42's The Skypark. The Skypark was a very awesome piece of software, and much like NeoFly, it gives you an entirely new reason to fly, gives you locations that once again you would never think of going to, and then their commercial experience now sounds like is going to be greatly enhanced and really add a whole lot more of immersion to your simulation experience. And I love these third-party applications, all of them that are doing this. I know there's another one, I can't think of the name off the top of my head right now, but I think there's 3 of them out there: NeoFly, Skypark, and again I can't remember for the life of me what the other one is. They truly do change the simulation experience for anyone who's been on the fence about trying one of these add-ons. They really do make it a completely different simulation experience, and Skypark does a wonderful job with that. It's been probably a year since I've used mine, and I remember that I still loved it. It's just at the time I think NeoFly offered a bit more, but after reading this article, it's definitely time to bring Skypark back to the channel and see how it's doing. I'm super excited to see the commercial aspect that they've got going here, and if you guys are interested in checking it out, you can check out Parallel 42's website, or you can also go to Orbix and you can purchase it for 43 Australian dollars. Finally, last on the list, RealTurb Cat announced for a Microsoft Flight Simulator. RealTurb Cat was initially designed for P3D as a turbulence enhancer. Now this goes again, there it is right there. Clear Air Turbulence is a single product that covers the entire globe, and it basically just adds the turbulent effects to the aircraft, but it also adds audio effects based on the G forces that are being put on the different surfaces of the aircraft as well. I remember seeing a video on this in P3D, and the change in behavior between the default simulation and the add-on here for CAT was quite extensive, and it was quite much more immersive just from watching it on a YouTube video. So I would imagine, especially in VR, this is something that would really see an impact. Turbulence in VR is something that can actually get you. Like, if you're not ready for it, it'll shake you out of your seat for a minute. So it is really awesome seeing that this is on its way down the line here. We don't have any further information. There isn't any kind of release date yet. There is a video here that you can find again on FS Elite's website that will give you a quick demonstration of what that looks like. So super excited to see further immersion coming to the simulator. You know, obviously there's a lot of enhancement that can be done when it comes to the weather system. I would say Asobo in the last few months has done a great job in improving the live weather system, turbulence, and overall flight effect there. But if you have a software that's specifically dedicated to that, I think it's also going to help that even further. And turbulence can be as many of you know, can be a very, very challenging impact to the aircraft and flight experience, especially on some of those really tricky landings. So I am super excited to see this one coming down the line. This is one that I will definitely be grabbing. Again, I love all of these immersion enhancement softwares that are coming down the line. Well, that is going to wrap it up for today's news, guys. I hope that you have enjoyed this announcement video, if you will, and I hope you're looking forward to many of these changes to the simulator as I am. As always, stay safe and healthy. Have a wonderful Father's Day for all the dads out there. I will definitely be enjoying mine, and I will see you guys in the next one.